Hi, I'm Ron Nitter, and welcome to another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nitter. In this episode, we're going to talk about folding at home part 2. Now, we're going to go through the setup on a Mac Mini, and this is just something that I happen to have around the studio. I've got 2 of them, so I may turn this loose on both of them because I initially was using them for a virtualization lab, and right now I'm not. So what better way to do this than help the researchers that are going through folding at home for their modeling and prototyping to see what treatments or what things they need to be looking to help deal with the coronavirus. Now, this video is also available as an Amazon flash briefing or podcast. Please go to techbiteswithronnitter.com for more information. For any items mentioned in this video, there are affiliate links in the description. If you click on these, I will get a small commission, but that won't affect the price you pay for the item. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe and enable notifications. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on the like button, thumbs up. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through installing the Folding at Home client on the Mac Mini. And this is going to be applicable if you've also got a MacBook Pro. So it covers the Mac spectrum. And I just happen to have a plethora of Macs. Now, we're going to talk about configuring the Mac at Home client. And then we're going to cover some tips and tricks on things to keep in mind to get you the best possible results on this. And in case you can't tell, I've been changing the studio gear again. So we're going to be breaking some things in for the next few weeks. And then we're going to go through on checking the Folding Home client. Now, this is the Mac Mini that we've got, and it's an older one, so that's not, you don't have to have the latest and greatest. And that's the whole thing I'm trying to go into with this, is you can use something that's been around. These are actually probably 4 or 5 years old. Now, they're not going to be screamers, but they will work. And if you're not using them, hey, I think we can all afford a $1 or $2's worth of electricity a month, and that's just a rough guess. But hey, if this helps the researchers, and if we all chip in a little bit, then so much the better. If you are interested in working with me and being a part of my team, reach out to me. I'll give you the information you need to set up for that. If you want to set up your own team, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just more here to go through the process and help you help others. Because after all, if we all do that, won't we be in a little bit better place? So let's go over into, we've actually got the Mac screen up and running, and I've already downloaded the Mac client. Now, this is one thing that is a minor drawback in that it doesn't auto update. But you know what? I can get over that one. I'd rather the people who are writing the software and doing the other work focus on that. I can handle with doing the updates. So we've already gotten it downloaded, and it downloads as a zip file for the Mac. So we'll just go through here and click on the installer, and it should start up here in just a second. And there we go. And we'll go down here and click on continue and continue and agree. If you're a lawyer, please don't take it the wrong way, but I can tell you shouldn't have to say agreed about 3 times to the same thing. And then we'll click install. And then we'll probably get another box. Yes, we do. And enter the credentials for that. And then it's a happy little camper. And we've got that up and running. Now, I don't delete this. I'm going to tell it to keep it. And here's why. This way, if something does happen, you have to reinstall, you've got the one you work with. You don't have to go re-download it again. I know it's minor, but still, it's it is what it is. But I just would rather not have to keep re-downloading these if we have to do it. So now we can go back over to here, and we will click on keep. And by default, it automatically goes through and connects to the local one. Now we're going to set up, I'm going to tell it to fold as anonymous right now, but you've seen how to, if you saw the first video, you've seen how to set up the other credentials. But I'm more concerned about getting this up and running. Now, here's the things to think about, and this is where I wanted you to keep in mind on how to get the best results on this. Now, by default, it comes up at medium, and it's going to say while I'm working. Now, if you can dedicate the machine to this, I would do 2 things. I have not had good luck, at least in my personal experience, with the option of only when I'm idle. That just for me hasn't worked for some reason. So maybe I'm not living right. Wouldn't be the first time. So if you set it to go to while I'm working, it's going to run at the same time. Now, by default, the medium setting is going to take whatever. Yeah, it's going to level out the process with you. And by the way, you want to go through and make sure you select COVID-19. That's the one I'm concentrating all the computers I'm going to be setting up for this. And had a good friend in Kentucky, Richard, graciously donate the use of one of his machines, and he's been doing some serious plowing through the different work projects. Now, there are 3 settings. Light means it's going to do very little. I mean, it will do it, but at a very reduced pace, minimal processor overhead. Medium is where it starts if you can do it. If you go to full, this is really where it's going to kick it in the pants, and it's going to be the best, fastest processing. Now, keep in mind, when you do that, that's going to induce some additional processor load. Here, we can get on the right screen here. That's going to induce some additional heat load on the Mac, especially if you are doing this on a MacBook Pro. There are different little, I'm going to call them cooling pads. They're basically, it's a kind of a tray you can put under the Mac Mini, and it has about 3-4 fans, something like that, and it plugs into an available USB port. You really want to get that if you're going to do this at full power, because it's going to really run the CPU pretty hard on it. And if you have to keep it plugged in. That's another gimme on the whole deal. You have to keep it plugged in so that your power supply is going to get a little toasty, folks. There's not a nice way to say that one. It's simply going to get toasty. So some things you need to think about. You definitely want to keep that Mac cool, because running a heavy load on it, this little puppy is going to get very, very toasty very quick. And especially with the Mac Mini, I mean, it wasn't where I could fry an egg on it, but it got pretty warm. So that's what to keep in mind when you're doing that. If you don't have a way of adding extra cooling to it, and if you're doing it like on the Mac Mini, then what you'll need to think about is you could still probably get a cooling pad for it, and you want to help dissipate as much of the heat as you can. So that's just something to think about. There's certainly nothing wrong with doing at medium power, and then even light. So that's the thing is you're helping. And that's the main the name of that game. So really, this is what it's going to take to get things up and running. And if you've not ever had a Mac before, there's plenty of them at times you can find on the used market. And this is a nice way to help out the researchers who are working with COVID and the other projects, because the more information we can help them get and help figure out what the best ways are to do research, then this is the best for all concerned. So if you're going to do multiple machines like I am, I'm going to take one of my equipment racks and I'm going to lay everything out on one of those to kind of help keep it cool. And depending on if you're running them at full power, the fans might get a little noisy. So you may need to pick a room that doesn't have a lot of people in it, or if it's your normal room for your computer stuff, then that's fine. But the family or your spouse may express some concerns if you're going to have it out one of the main rooms. Anyway, that's what we're looking at this point. So it's going to be interesting. Oh, I forgot to tell you one other thing that's kind of important. You do not want to leave this screen up all the time, because that's going to slow it down. I noticed even running at full power, this was draining enough resources away from the folding at home. I'll call it a service for lack of a better thing, because it's running under the hood. It was taking enough away that I was doing maybe 1 or 2 work packets a day. Once I took that out and just only briefly checked it, then I was able to get things processing much faster. So, I mean, we're all curious and we want to check things. But again, mainly don't leave that up on the screen all the time. So that's where we stand for this one. I've shown you how to do it on a Windows 10 box. We've done it on an Intel Mac, on a Apple Mac Mini. And this is going to be good for any, really, if you've got a MacBook Pro, any of the other devices. Now, the MacBook Airs, don't know how much processing power they're going to be able to lend to this, but I'm just lighting up all the different machines that I've got to show you what you can expect. And even if, well, let's face it, we're not going to get rich doing this because we're not getting any money for donating the processing power of machines. But it's just an exercise I'm going through because I've got the equipment sitting here. It's not really doing anything. And I'd rather it be helping out somehow than just sitting there gathering dust on the shelf, so to speak. So you're going to see videos to the right or the left, which are the next steps to the one you've just watched or other content that I have produced. If this video helps you or provides value, please click on that like button, which is thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe and enable notifications, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.